welcome to another video from Jim the Car Guy. This one's going to be a fairly easy one. It's 2012. It's a Honda Accord. We're going to be changing the oil and the filter. A couple of things I want to just mention. You're going to need a 17mm socket, a wrench, and an oil filter wrench to remove the filter itself, as well as a drain bucket to drain the oil into. I always recommend wearing your gloves because you don't want to get that waste oil all over your hands and everything else. A lot easier throwing the gloves away and trying to clean your hands. Plus, the oil's no good for your skin anyway. But let's get underneath the car, and I'm going to show you exactly what to do. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and give me a thumbs up if you think it's okay. All right, let's get underneath there. All right. Obviously, we're going to be going underneath the car to do our work. So what you're going to do is you grab your 17mm wrench or socket, and what we're going to do is we're going to take out this drain plug right here. We're going to drain it into our bucket down here, and then we're going to remove this filter right up in here also, and we're going to let that drain out also. So let me take that filter out and take the drain plug out, and we'll continue with this. Now you can use a ratchet, or you can use a wrench, whatever works for you. And again, you want to make sure it's nice and tight, fits on there, because you don't want to strip out the oil drain plug. I've had a previous customer that came in and they used an adjustable wrench on this, and they rounded out the oil drain plug, which made it kind of difficult to get it out. So make sure you use the right size socket on there, and or wrench. Never use the open end part of a wrench, always use the box end. And once you break it loose, you just take the plug out and you let it all drain into your into whatever you're catching the oil into. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this filter off here. Sometimes you can get them off easily, sometimes you can't. In this case, it's pretty tight, so we're going to grab the right wrench and we're going to take it off. Okay. Lots of different ways you can get the filter off. You can use a band style tool that goes on here like this, and you can remove the filter like that. Or you can use this style, which goes over the bottom like this, and you use a ratchet to remove it from the car. This is the one that I prefer because it actually grips into the side of the filter and it doesn't slide at all. And we're just going to let that drain out a little bit, and we're going to grab our new filter in the meantime. Okay, one thing I want to mention to you is always make sure that this gasket here comes off and it doesn't, it stays on the filter and it doesn't remain up on the oil filter housing up here, because I've seen them already where the filter remains on, the filter gasket remains on there, and you'll put it back together and you're going to have a problem. Okay, just make sure your gasket comes down off of here, and if it does, if it remains up there, you just take it over with your hand and get rid of it. We're going to lubricate the oil filter O-ring slightly with some motor oil, and then we screw the filter on by hand, as tight as you can by hand. You don't need to tighten it with a wrench, just tighten it nice and tight by hand. Right? And after our motor oil finishes draining out, you put your oil drain plug back in, and then you grab your 17mm socket or wrench, whatever you have, and you make sure it's nice and tight. And you don't want to over tighten it because you're screwing this drain plug into an aluminum pan. You don't want to strip out the pan. All right, and then clean everything off so you don't have any residual oil there. And then we're going to lower the car down, and we're going to put the motor oil in the car. I'll show you how it goes. Okay, now we got the vehicle back down on the ground, and we're going to put the motor oil into the engine. And this is where your oil is going to go. There's the oil cap, and you just take this cap off, and we're going to put the oil in through the top, right in through here. And I just want to point out, whenever you're putting oil in the car, always go by what the manufacturer says. This case, it calls for 020 motor oil. It's a very thin motor oil. They want that oil thin for a reason, because they need that oil pressure pumped up instantly as soon as the car starts up. So make sure you use the correct oil. I've had this discussion with people already saying that the oil is too thin, but the manufacturer knows best what works in their car. Use what they say. Don't go about what other people are telling you could use. You're going to wind up creating a problem. So take your cap off. Obviously, we're going to use a funnel to put the oil in there. And in this particular case, it calls for 4.2 quarts of oil, which is what we're going to put into it, and then we're going to start it up. Now, I just want to point out that that the 020 motor oil is a little different than most of the oils out there. The 020 motor oil is actually it's a full synthetic motor oil, and you always want to use what they recommend. So let's get a funnel and let's get that oil in there and get this job done. Okay, after you change your oil and you get the new oil back into it, before you start the car up, always put your cap back on the car. I just want to point out, this is one reason why it's very important that you change your oil on a regular basis, because you can see what's inside this cap here. You see how all that white is up inside there? This hasn't been changed very often. So we're going to put that cap back on. We're going to start the car up, let it run for a minute, and then we're going to shut it off and check it. Even though it calls for 4.2 quarts of oil, you always want to check it just to confirm that it's full, so you don't have a problem. And there we are, exactly to the full mark right now. So that's it, we're all set. All right, make sure your oil dipstick is down all the way, your cap is nice and tight. And take a look underneath the car and make sure you have no leaks underneath there. And that's it, you're all set. All right, thanks for watching. If I can do anything for you or you need any information, drop me a line. I'd be more than happy to talk to you about it. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.